Okay, let's see if that tonic water got rid of the mouth noises. Welcome to Better with Books, where in each episode I pull a snippet of wisdom out of a book and I try to make it applicable to our daily lives. I'm Roots, your host, and in this episode, episode 16, you'll find out what it takes to become prejudiced. Turns out, it's pretty easy. This episode was inspired by Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. To start off, there are 3 things that us white people need to know. Firstly, racism isn't only hate. It isn't just prejudice. It is also simply having an advantage that other people don't have because of the way we look versus the way that they look. Worse, it is also every moment that we don't confront and question those privileges. Secondly, we use the word equality, but really at this point in time we should say equity, because that's what we mean. That's what we should mean, at least. Here's how Picoult describes it in the book. Equality is treating everyone the same, but equity is taking differences into account so everyone has a chance to succeed. Thirdly, we are all racist. By definition, if we are born white and live in America, we are privileged and we ignore that fact, at least occasionally. Therefore, we are racist. But the sad part is none of us are born racist. We become so. And just as we become racist, we also can, but don't all, thank God, become prejudiced and hateful. Here's the passage from Small Great Things that inspired me to begin writing this script. Babies are such blank slates. They don't come into this world with the assumptions their parents have made, or the promises their church will give, or the ability to sort people into groups they like and don't like. They don't come into this world with anything, really, except a need for comfort, and they will take it from anyone without judging the giver. I wonder how long it takes before the polish given by nature gets worn off by nurture. Well, I can't give an exact amount of time before a baby stops being pure, innocent, unjudgmental. But I can say this. The process of nature's polish wearing off begins as soon as 2 things enter the baby's life. 1, the ability to generalize, and 2, exposure to and internalization of other people's prejudices. The first one, we all do it. It's easier on our brains if we generalize situations. It saves us time to think that since we don't like the swinging ship ride, we probably won't really like roller coasters either, even though we know that they are very different rides. We figure out that doing business with that one particular contractor is never going to end in a mutually agreeable outcome, so we generalize our future interactions. We stop wasting our time trying to do business with them. Generalization has its place in our lives. We would hardly be as efficient or proficient without it. But it gets dangerous the moment we stop generalizing about one person at a time and start to apply our generalizations, now stereotypes, to a whole group of people. And this is where prejudice comes in. This is where prejudice has the chance to come in, I should say. First, let me point out the difference between bias and prejudice. Bias comes out of personal experience. Prejudice is similar, but it has 2 additional characteristics. Firstly, it is negative. By definition, it causes harm. Secondly, it is always about groups of people, not individuals, certainly not individuals that we have personally interacted with. And here's where step 2 comes in. Here's where the polish of nature really gets rubbed off. Prejudice becomes dangerous on a wide scale when people with similar prejudices combine their ideas. Racism and hate stems from the grouping of prejudices, because when it's more than one person expressing a stereotype, then it becomes a thing that is part of a larger whole, like it has substance, like it must be true because other people think so too. Like if one person thinks this awful thing and a bunch of other people do too, that stereotype is justified to its believers. And once a prejudice is justified, there is no end to what else can be justified in its name. Payback, superiority, supremacy, hate, killing, war. Prejudice suddenly has a place to thrive. It gives place to unfounded and unbounded hatred to the target group. And we all know what comes along with this prejudice, this hatred. From the smallest mistaken identity case, though really how small is anything that has to do with race, to the most horrific lynchings, to an all-out Holocaust. I don't know how to fix this issue any more than anyone else does. It'll be a long, long process, and it'll come in many different parts, and it'll require us all to work together. We know that much. We also know that we're working on it right now, and that one day it'll all be better than it was today, and certainly than it was yesterday. And maybe while we're in this process, here's something to think about. We all have too much baggage. We carry around too many judgments as if they actually help us. Why can't, and I'm speaking to myself first here, why can't we just give up on this idea that everyone either passes or fails some test for us? Sure, brutally scrutinize the people who come closest to you in life. After all, they are the people who you have to trust and depend on and provide for. But everyone else, especially the people who you'll never even meet in person, the people who don't affect your life, they don't need your verdict on them. And frankly, you can't return a verdict on pretty much anyone you'll ever know because 99% of the time, you won't know half of what you'd need to know to make the right call. At risk of sounding cliché, be kind. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. See, in that line, there is no room for generalization. We are forced to look at each person individually and remember that every human being is entitled to some respect, so it can't lead to bias or to stereotyping or to prejudice or to violence or hate. The polish of nature, it's still there, a little bit in all of us. But we have to work on it. We have to scrub at our biases and our insecurities and the way we blindly follow without critically evaluating if we want that polish to shine through again and make the world a brighter place. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you like this episode, you can hear more like it on Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud, Anchor, Stitcher, RadioPublic, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you get and listen to your podcasts. And you can get in touch with me personally with feedback or suggestions or just a shout out on Twitter at Ruth Roots, that's Ruth ROOTZ, and on Instagram at RootsMac, that's ROOTZMAC. And thank you again for listening.